heel. You really don't. When you're at full compression, your heel's maybe an inch below. But you need the shoe high because when you go in, you have to be able to pop your foot out. If you lift your foot, you lift your heel, and there's no tension, your foot won't come out. And where's John Everett?
There he is.
Okay, John Everett, who almost drowned 3 years ago,
Warrior.
his feet didn't come out. And I'll tell you, it happens. That's one of the reasons, by the way, why we all felt it was so important to get rid of the, what were those shoes that we got? The Bat Logic, because those are designed to cup the Achilles tendon. They're designed to keep your feet in. And we all felt it was too dangerous. So these are very tight, okay? And the third thing, from a safety perspective, particularly if you're like Bart Pasternak and you like to row alone, okay, I wouldn't go out without this. Okay, I carry one in every boat because if you're out, you could be 500 meters away. We're all adults, we're older, you have a heart issue, you have a respiratory issue, you flip, you take in some water, you can whistle and your coaches will hear you, but they will not see you. In any fog, in any inclement weather, they won't see you. And those of you know, SOS, International Morse Code, if you whistle SOS, somebody on the shore is going to hear you and call the police. So I keep these in every boat. I also, if I'm rowing alone, particularly off season, it's just Velcroed in here, is I didn't bring it down here today, but I carry a little inflatable fanny pouch. Okay, I carry it, I tie it, I just tie it right in here, because if I'm out and it's in the water, it's in April or May, and you go in, you know, they say about people going into cold water, some people have, what's the expression, Bart, when you...
Vasovagal.
Yeah, where you just can't breathe. So, you know, it's dangerous, and you know, we take all the safety precautions, but these things are for a reason. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out here and I'm going to flip. I've never flipped in this boat. Andy said, do you want to flip in your other boat because you know it? And I said, no. And I haven't done this in many years, so there's no guarantee I'll get back in the boat. But
why is Andy there?
Why is Andy? We'll find out. This is a surprise. So what I want to explain to you is that when you get back in the boat, okay, you're going to get back in over your seat deck. This is the center of the boat. This is where you're going to be seated. So this is where you're coming in. If it's a bow-mounted rigger, you're coming up to the boat this way. If it's a stern-mounted rigger, you don't have this in the way, and it's slightly different between bow-mounted or stern-mounted. And I talked with John Trainer about that, with the possibility that he may just test it with his stern-mounted rigger. But when you flip, two things happen. Either your boat stays upright, or the expression your boat goes turtle. Okay? Your boat goes turtle meaning it flips completely. Okay? If your boat flips completely, it's upside down, you have to right it first, obviously. And I'm going to show you in the water how we do that. But the most important thing, if you go turtle, is to have your oars parallel, because otherwise the boat won't turn. Okay? And the last thing before I go in the water is you have to remember that this is a life jacket. Okay? This boat is a life jacket. It has inflation, bow and stern, and for the most part, it's going to stay afloat. There are some boats, you know, that don't stay afloat particularly well, but this boat will stay afloat. So when you go in the water, you can always hang onto your boat. You can always hold on. It is your life jacket. And as John Everett and Bart found out when we sank our quad at the World Championships, right? We got hit by another quad and it sheared our bow off and we sank. Literally, your oars are also flotation. So we had the bow and two were down about 40 feet in the water, but 3 and 4 of the oars we could actually get out, and we took those oars, we were able to tuck those oars under our arms to stay afloat. So you have to be mindful of these things because accidents happen, okay? All right.
Let's walk to the boat.
I didn't tell you I don't get wet when I go in.
The dolphin.
I know it's firmly in. You'd be amazed how often, by the way, that happens.
Indicate the direction to go in deep water.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Tonight.
It is when you have wheels and stuff.
See how the bastard does it.
The shoe ties. The shoe ties that secure the heel,
Yep.
that secure the heel to the hull,
Yeah.
have to be tight.
Okay.
You have to be able to lift your foot. By the way, these shoes, these Filippi shoes, are a little tighter. You have to be able to lift your foot out, just like this. Boom.
Right.
Okay, and that only happens if your heel ties are tight.
I see.
So when you go to a race and they check your heel ties, a lot of people go, "Oh, come on, really?" You have to be able to do that.
Do you agree that use only one Velcro to put the foot into the shoe?
Nope.
You put both?
Do whatever you're comfortable with, as long as your foot can come out.
All right.
Where's your toe in the shoe?
It's not tight. It's real tight. Okay, the last thing before I head out is your pull cord. Okay. So those of you who have your own boats, you have to tighten the lines on your pull cord so that it's not pulling the Velcro off, but it's tight enough so I can do this. So sometimes you'll find that it's this loose, and then what happens is it's hooked over here, or it's hooked someplace else.
Yeah.
So the point is that the last safety thing is this has to be reasonably tight. You've got a line here, it's got a knot, and I've just tightened it so that it's, there's very little play. So when I go in, I know exactly where this is. Okay? All right. Push it on. Push. Well, I'm going to need to go right in basically in there.
Our heel ties are crazy on the side of the property.
Yeah, heel ties are often loose.
Down. Look out for Kobe.
Yeah, he's just,
Okay.
clown.
I really want to go swimming.
No, this is going to be very
Yes,
important.
right. And by the way, those of you who flipped, and you can flip by catching a crab, you can flip by hitting another boat, hitting a bridge, hitting a rock, any number of things. Even these buoys over here, by the way, you can hook one of those buoys with your oars. You're coming home, boom, you're going to go in.
You're right.
So really the easiest way to flip, the most common is probably this way. See ya.
And the shoes, the feet immediately came out.
So I flip, but I haven't gone turtle. This is turtle. Okay? This happens a lot.
Most of the
And in order to get the boat set up again, I have to bring it back. In order to do that, I have to get my oars parallel to the hull. But again, as I said earlier, this is a life jacket. I can stay here all day long. If it's cold water, I can stay like this. Okay? So, first things first, I'm going to lean on the rigger. And come back. Now the other thing that's important to remember is that you're not in a hurry. It may be cold, but you're not in a hurry. So take your time, gather your wits, have a beer, make sure nobody's watching. Then I need to get my oars parallel to the hull, perpendicular, I'm sorry. Because the only way I have stability is if my oars are perpendicular and the blades are feathered. If the blade is like this, it's just going to go under. If the blade is feathered, it has stability. And I have to get this other oar.
Right. Ooh, look at that move.
Okay. I have my oars now perpendicular to the hull.
Perpendicular.
Getting that far blade can be a challenge. Now, the problem is, I'm up here. I'm on the wrong side of my rigger.
Right.
Wrong side of my oars.
This is always the biggest problem, the outer oar.
Even with experience, it's not easy.
Both oars.
Watch the video.
Okay, I'm basically ready to get in.
So you put your hands on the oar, is that correct?
One hand, left hand.
I'm basically ready to get in. I need both oars in my left hand, pressed down on the seat deck. I need to be sure that the oars are feathered. I'm positioned properly. So my motion is a three-piece motion. 1 to grab, 2 to pull, 3 to flip my body. So it's 1, 2.
Whoa. It's almost there.
Easy.
Tougher than this.
Done. Orlog came out.
Oh man.
Did he just go on that purposely?
You did it.
His oarlock popped off.
I think that's a defective rigger.
Yeah.
What did it do?
You get the idea.
Oarlock broke off the wood, the rigger.
Well, I
It's
hope
very difficult.
that's called the best laid plans of my cement.
But it's a good
Yeah.
thing it happened now
Okay.
instead of when you really needed it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What happened?
Has that ever happened before?
No.
So why don't you bring it closer out?
Okay, folks. Well, I think you understand the concept.
Yeah.